where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.
Domoro kadiate
boy janno sikes restaurant
e sai nakko be ninna dimbal nimba domoro kala janno
domoro seneyata adiyata topotoro fanan kendema bije luntan during tamala abeka domoro ki janni adi manda wala de teka we bijele anim fanan ka fadi jang ikono e fa e ka fa minne ko pastry anim bakery iko fanan be kalele badde lomba conference lomba workshop lomba ye fo fendin lon dunia kono domoro betama nyillom international to wada number 1
amanke ba domola jandama
e sa domo jang is atariya
wo mu kubandi
sa nakko sa futandin
oto sa nakko be mu CK's restaurant
ndabana janno mu yat ni manje dorom bijam
aban
CK's restaurant, known for best quality food and customer satisfaction.
diwli lanni maro lanni
fop lanni
awa joni mi anda honno guerdeten e ngal ɗo sabu e ngal ɗo Ibrahima joni naltaw joni mi anda se yaha e kapitiki ñawloɗen ha humpodire makko est ce que on noon e warude
waɗen noon awa
ane kore Ibrahima ma kon to woni
mo Amérique
ko Amérique a woni kadi humpitaki fiɓe musidɓe men baluwo
baluwo
ɓe andanɗa kala ko wawɗa wonde e aduna o si a rewi e juuɗe maɓɓe a jonnay ɗo dépassement o Gambia hara no weeɓi a yahata kadi taw ko mbuɗi ɗi no ƴawi walla no jippi ɓe haalantama ko kala ko falɗa ko sengo ñamete ili nebba maaro basal pomme de terre kala ko rewi ɗon a hendoto hara no weeɓi kadi wona ɗum ɗon tum ɓe jonnira e mobile phone siko ɗum kadi laptop kala ko wayrode ɗi hay kaspawa ɓe wawma jonnude kadi sa fala humpitade ko weeɓi ƴettu Google account ma on joni data ton waɗa download app maɓɓe on ayiyay kala ko humpima e maɓɓe ton ɓe weeɓi yama
ka wonɗa wo e aduna on
kala ko wawɗa
a jonnana e wonɗo ka leydi men Gambia ɗo dépense
hara no weeɓi yama si ɗum non fof no neeɓi immoɗen joni mi ɗowtama ka place maɓɓe jano
waɗen joni
iya heɓa ko falata
waɗen kisam
When we touch down, better broke down.
With Gamtel G-Fiber, now you can enjoy super fast internet in gigabytes. G-Fiber is affordable, stable, secured, and accessible to homes, businesses, and enterprises. With Gamtel G-Fiber, the future is speed. Gamtel, creating a brighter future in communication.
That's how she became mine and see the
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever
interests thou hast committed to our charge. Amen. Good morning, Vice President. Good morning, Honorable. Please sit down. Thank you.
Correction and approval of records of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Saturday, 16th May 2020.
Thank you. Good morning, honorable members. Good morning, Your Excellency and honorable ministers, members of the press. Thank you. Honorable members, the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Saturday, the 16th of May 2020 is before us for correction and approval. Can any honorable member please move that the said record of votes and proceedings be considered and approved? Yes, honorable member for Lower Badibu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to move that the
the records of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sittings of Saturday, 16 May 2023 approved and adopted.
Thank you. Any seconder? Yes, Kian West.
Rise to second the motion.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Saturday, the 16th of May, 2020 be approved. Any issues or observations from honorable members? Starting with page 1. Page 1. No. Page 2. Let me check the attendance so that make sure that everybody's name. Yes, honorable member for Jimara.
Madam, I think number 37, page 2, honorable member for Fonyi Councillor was absent on that day. That was on Saturday. Two. Yep. I said number 37.
Number 37.
Exactly, yes.
Yes, actually he did inform me personally that he had a funeral, so he was absent on that day. We'll take note of it. Thank you. Any more on page 2? Lower Fuladu, anything on page 2? No? Woolly East? Nothing? Okay. Page 3? Yes, Lower Fuladu.
Thank you very much. The following National Assembly member was absent: Honorable Matar M. Jeng, Lower Nyomi. Is it with or without permission? Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Any further observations on 3? No? Okay. Then 4, page 4. Yes, honorable member for Nyanija.
Thank you very much. Just a simple thing. On the first line, which reads as, those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. Please should be put between the same.
Five. Wow. Okay. Yes, Woolly East.
Yes, thank you. On the motion without notice, the first line, the honorable member for Serakunda relying on clause, you remove the off there. Relying on clause 53 rather than off 53. And also when you go down, question put, you've seen it. And when you go down, question put and agreed to the last line, the last sentence, at the end, unanimously approved. We put approved there. Thank you.
Yes.
Any more? Yes, Sabasanya.
Yes. On page 5, question put on agreed to. The last sentence, I think it should read unanimous. Unanimous. The motion to exclude the recommendation and the resolution was unanimous. Not unanimously. No, look at what I am saying.
We're together. Can you?
Yes, go to question put and agree to. Let me read the last sentence. The motion to exclude the recommendations and the resolution was unanimous. That's how it should read. Yes.
Either unanimous or
no. That is it on the next page.
Any more on page 5? 5? No? Okay, thank you. Page 6. Yes, Lord Fatou.
Page 6, the last line. Assembly to be adequately briefed for an informed decision.
Yes, thank you. Any more?
I move the motion. Can I say what I...
Sorry, somebody is, I cannot see the person.
Here, please.
Yes.
The one that the honorable member was talking about, this is how I put it. That the assembly with a comprehensive assessment of the 45 days period of the state of public emergency to enable the assembly to make a decision based on palpable data.
It's been captured. Thank you. Page 6. Any more on 6? No? Okay. Page 7.
If you can...
Somebody has anything on page 6?
No, page 7. Page 7, Honorable Speaker, question put and agreed to. The same correction should be in line with that one. Thank you.
Any more on page 7? No? Okay, thank you. Page 8. Yes, Honorable.
Yeah. On page 8, number 20, Honorable Alhaj H. Shaw, instead of Alhaj Shaw. The initial is H is not included.
Any more on 8? Page 8? Page 9? Yes, Willie? Willie is?
After the votes, the motion fell instead of fall. It's in the past.
Honorable Member for Basse.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Honorable Member for Basse seconded the motion. I can't remember, and I don't think it's me who seconded the motion. Standing Order 11-1, the Honorable Member for Serekunda West moved that the Assembly sits beyond the 6 p.m. The Honorable Member for Basse seconded the motion. I can't remember, and I don't think I have seconded this motion.
With the Hansard records and rectified. Thank you. Thank you. Any more corrections, observations? No? I take it then that we are all satisfied with the records. Yes, Nyamina East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, just to go back, if you go back to page 1, I was wondering if you look at the leveling, where we have the following National Assembly members were present, if you look at the leveling names and constituency, I think if you look at it, Speaker, Deputy Speaker, you don't term those as constituency. We are identifying based on the tax that we are having here, the tax I mean. So I think it will be better, in my opinion, to use tag, because the tag that you have before you there is written Speaker, and that is not your constituency, and the Deputy Speaker as well. So I think generalization by using these will not serve the purpose of your title here. Thank you.
Any more? Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that the record of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Saturday, the 16th of May 2020 be approved with amendments. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Clerk, can we proceed with the next item?
Can I observe before proceeding, Madam Speaker? Can I do an observation?
An observation?
Yes. Madam Speaker, thank you. This is the record of votes and proceeding of the National Assembly sitting of Saturday, 16 May 2020. We sat also on Monday, even though we don't do anything, but the sitting happened. We sat and we adjourned. So it is important that we have the records of votes of Monday, even if nothing is done, for record purpose.
Thank you. I know we did not proceed, so I've discussed it with the table office and the office of the clerk, and of course it will be captured. Thank you. I observed that myself. Thank you.
Report of the Public Appointment Standing Committee on the confirmation of appointment of Mr. Bakari Sajang as Ombudsman in accordance with Section 164(1) of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia.
Thank you very much. Honorable members will recall that the motion for the confirmation
by the Honorable Keba Kebaro, member of the committee.
That the motion for the confirmation of the appointment of Mr. Bakari Sanyang as Ombudsman was tabled by Her Excellency the Vice President on Monday, the 6th of April, 2020. This second nomination was made by His Excellency the President after the rejection of the earlier nominee in December 2019 by the National Assembly. Section 1641 of the 1997 Constitution limits the National Assembly from rejecting the second nominee for Ombudsman, subject to full compliance to the provisions of the Constitution. However, when the motion was tabled, Her Excellency the Vice President informed the Assembly that Mr. Sanyang was still, at the time, serving in public office as Governor of the West Coast region. Section 164(4) of the Constitution, that is the 1997 Constitution, provides that a person shall not be qualified to hold office as Ombudsman or Deputy Ombudsman if he or she is a member of the National Assembly, a minister, or holds any other public office, and the emphasis is mine. This provision disqualified Mr. Sanyang at the time. Based on this statement of the Vice President, Her Excellency, confirming that Mr. Sanyang was serving in public office, the matter was then referred to the Public Appointments Standing Committee for scrutiny and advise the plenary appropriately. I will now invite the Honorable Member for Combo South and member of the said committee, that is the Public Appointments Committee, to table the report of the committee. Thank you. Honorable. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. report of the Public Appointments Committee, Standing Committee on the confirmation of appointment of Mr. Bakar Sanyang as Ombudsman in accordance with Section 1641 of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move for consideration and approval of this August Assembly the report of the Public Appointments Standing Committee on the confirmation of appointment of Mr. Bakar Sanyang as Ombudsman. In accordance with Section 164(1) of the 1997 Constitution, the President is mandated to appoint an Ombudsman in consultation with the Public Service Commission, subject to confirmation by the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, the motion for the confirmation of appointment of Mr. Bakar Sanyang as Ombudsman, in accordance with the Constitution, was tabled by Her Excellency the Vice President on Monday, 6 April 2020. Honorable Speaker, it was a fact that Mr. Bakar Sanyang is the second nominee by the President for the position of Ombudsman after the rejection of the earlier nominee in December 2019 by the National Assembly. Therefore, the proviso under Section 164(1) of the 1997 Constitution limits the Assembly from rejecting the second nominee for the Ombudsman, subject to full compliance to the provisions of the Constitution. However, the motion tabled by Her Excellency the Vice President confirmed that Mr. Sanyang was still, at the time, serving as, in public office as Governor for West Coast Region. Honorable Speaker, Section 164(4) provides that a person shall not be qualified to hold office of an ombudsman or deputy ombudsman if he or she is a member of the National Assembly, a minister, or holds any other public office. Based on the above section of the Constitution, the motion to confirm the appointment of Mr. Bakar Sanyang was referred to Public Appointments Standing Committee as per Standing Order 114 for scrutiny and advice. Furthermore, Standing Order 1142 mandates the Public Appointments Standing Committee to consider and advise or report upon all appointments to a public office to be made by the Executive, subject to confirmation of the National Assembly and any other matter connected therewith. Accordingly, the committee met on Thursday, 14th May 2020, to consider and scrutinize the motion as was referred to it by the plenary. The methodology used. The committee thoroughly scrutinized the credentials of Mr. Bakar Sanyang. In reviewing the credentials of Mr. Sanyang, the committee took cognizance of the statutory requirements as provided for under Section 164 of the 1997 Constitution. The committee also noted of the handing over notes or letter reference WA 14/42/0137 of Mr. Bakar Sanyang to confirm that he is no more holding any public office. Resolution. The Public Appointment Standing Committee, A, having regard to the need for persons exercising the functions of Ombudsman to have substantial administrative or professional experience. B, taking note of the motion tabled by Her Excellency the Vice President of the Republic regarding the confirmation of appointment of Mr. Bakar Sanyang. C, whereas Mr. Bakar Sanyang can be confirmed to have ceased to hold any public office as evident in his handing over notes reference WA 14/42/0137. D, whereas the person appointed Ombudsman should demonstrate utmostly impartiality and neutrality to discharge his or her duty. E, bearing in mind the Ombudsman shall not be subject to the direction or control of any other person or authority. F, taking into account the requirement of the Constitution for the Assembly not to reject the second person nominated for the position of Ombudsman. G, cognizant of Standing Order 1142 of the National Assembly, giving mandate to the Public Appointments Standing Committee to scrutinize and advise upon all appointments to a public office to be made by the Executive. H, guided by the relevant provisions of the Constitution and after a thorough review of Mr. Sanyang's CV, do here resolve to advise the Assembly to confirm the appointment of Mr. Bakar Sanyang as Ombudsman. Accordingly, the committee, as mandated by the standing orders, hereby submit this report. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Any seconder? Yes, Honorable Member for Jimara.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to second the motion, and I think that Mr. Sanyang will fulfill the trust and confidence Gambians have on him. Thank you very much.
May I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the report of the Public Appointments Standing Committee to confirm the appointment of Mr. Bakari Sanyang as Ombudsman in accordance with Section 164(1) of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Now, any honorable member who wishes to take part in the debate may do so by raising hands. You don't want to, there's no need to debate. Well, these are procedural matters that we have to follow.
We want the Vice President to say a few words as a mover.
Well, you will, as I said, you will all recall that it was tabled by the Honorable Her Excellency, the Vice President. So we will allow her to make a few short remarks, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable National Assembly members, all other protocols respectfully observed, I wish to, on behalf of His Excellency President Barrow, to express appreciation for making this great decision today to endorse the appointment of Mr. Bakari Sanyang to the office of Ombudsman. I want to say thank you for the fact that everything that was done here was to ensure that we move procedures, make sure that procedures are followed. Of course, to err is human. And whatever shortcomings that might have resulted in us reaching up to this stage is not intended. But as we move and as we are evolving as a new democracy in which we want to follow procedures, we must be patient. We must be ready to engage constructively. And it was a very constructive engagement. You can be assured of His Excellency Adama Barrow's government of still emphasizing and strengthening the democracy that we all agreed to move with, the rule of law, and to work in a transparent and professional manner in order to move this country forward. On that note, I want to say thank you for all the efforts that were done, and I want to say, please forgive us in this month of Ramadan, that we are together, that God will bless this appointment, and also it will be in the best interest of the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. May I now put the question on the report? Be it resolved that this Honorable Assembly do adopt the report of the Public Appointments Standing Committee confirming the appointment, to confirm the appointment of Mr. Bakari Sanyang as Ombudsman in accordance with Section 164, subsection 1 of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Now on the motion that was earlier tabled, be it resolved that this Honorable Assembly do confirm the appointment of Mr. Bakari Sanyang as Ombudsman in accordance with Section 164(1) of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you very much, honorable members. So you can have. Clerk, can we proceed with the next item? Thank you.
Motion. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and confirm the appointment of Mr. Alhaji Momodou Ndaunjai and Mr. Yusuf Ababukar Diba as members of the Gambia Armed Forces Council in accordance with Section 1891G of the 1997 Constitution and Section 131G of the Gambia Armed Forces Act by the Honorable Minister for Defense.
You can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this August Assembly do consider and confirm the appointment of retired Colonel Momodou Ndaunjai and Mr. Yusuf Diba, former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, as members of the Armed Forces Council. Honorable Speaker, in pursuance of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, Section 189, subsection 1G, and as part of the security sector reform on defense, His Excellency, the President of the Republic and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, has granted approval for the establishment of the Armed Forces Council, which shall comprise the following: the Vice President as Chairperson, the Minister of Defense, Chief of Defense Staff, and the Armed Forces Chief of Staff, Commanders of the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, and 2 other persons appointed by the President, subject to confirmation by the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, I would like to inform this August Assembly that there has never been a functional Armed Forces Council in the history of the Gambia. It is my ministry's belief that the establishment of this council with this caliber of people will significantly assist in the oversight processes and democratic civilian control of the armed forces. The roles of the armed forces are clearly stipulated in Section 189, subsection 2 and 3 of the Constitution. Retired Colonel Momodou Ndaunjai was one of the founders of the Gambian National Army in 1984 and became its first commander of the same year. He attended several military training in the Gambia, in the United Kingdom, and in France. He has vast experience about the Gambia Armed Forces and knowledgeable on military operations. He also served as the ambassador of the Republic of the Gambia to France. Mr. Yusuf Diba has MSc in International Agricultural Development from the University of California, Davis, MA degree in History and Political Science from the University of Botswana and Swaziland, as well as a BA in Sociology, Economics, and History from Botswana. He is a retired civil servant who has served in various ministries and capacities, including the Ministry of Defense as Permanent Secretary. He also served as Ambassador of the Republic of the Gambia to Cuba. He's a very experienced public administrator, planning and management. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Member for Basse, want to say something?
For second minute, isn't it? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I rise to second
Observation.
I don't raise any point of observation. I was.
No, among the speaker should say.
You preempted me. I thought you
Exactly.
had a separate observation.
No, no.
Okay. Can the honorable member please second the motion? Yes, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to second the motion on the appointment of retired Colonel Mamadou Ndao Njai and Mr. Yusufa Diba as members of the Armed Forces Council. Honorable Speaker, the motion before us has referred us to the 1997 Constitution, Section 189, subsection 1G. With your permission, I want to read that section. Honorable Speaker, Armed Forces Council. There shall be an Armed Forces Council which shall consist of, and I want to compare the dictate of the Constitution with the provision on the motion. The Vice President as a chairperson, the Minister of the time being responsible for defense, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Armed Forces Chief of Staff, the Commanders of the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry responsible for defense, 2 other persons appointed by the President subject to confirmation by the National Assembly. So in this regard, we can see that the motion has followed the due process of the law and it is constitution friendly. Honorable Speaker, it further continues on the subsection 2 that the Armed Forces Council shall advise the President on all matters of the policy relating to defense and strategy, including the role of the armed forces, defense, budgetary and finance, administration, and any other matter which the President may refer to the Council. So, Honorable Speaker, if anybody has to do that, the first thing that we need to question whether you have the capacity, the skill, and the experience. And I think the paper before us, the way these 2 people were described, is enough to convince us that these people are people of experience, they are people of skills, and they are people of knowledge. So we don't have any doubt that if they are given this post of responsibility, they live to expectation. On that note, I want to support the motion and call on my honorable colleagues to give their blessing to this motion. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I beg to resume my seat.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider and confirm the appointment of Mr. Alhaji Mamadou Ndao Njai and Mr. Yusuf Ababakar Diba as members of the Gambia Armed Forces Council in accordance with Section 189, subsection 1G of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia and Section 13, subsection 1G of the Gambia Armed Forces Act. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. So the ayes have it. Thank you. Now, any honorable member who wishes to take part in the debate may do so by raising his or her tag. Actually, Kantora was the first one that caught my eye, and then Jared is.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I equally want to thank the member for Basse for seconding motion and being very brief. As alluded by the mover, the transitional government has mandates, and such mandates are prescribed. Among the mandates, there's a promise to usher this country into another new dispensation whereby the issue of security sector reform would be conducted and many other mandates given to the coalition government. There is an outcry about this issue of security sector reform. It's long overdue, and I want to tell the minister that it's a right move in the right direction. There is a need for the establishment of this particular council in order to enable and expedite the security sector reform. And of course, the two persons in question, we could not agree with you more that they are qualified and they fit for this position. Going by the 1997 Constitution, Section 189, 2A, B, and C. Looking at their qualification, they should serve as policy advisors of government or to the president in issues relating to defense and strategy, which a Doyen who served in the First Republic and also served as a custodian. Founding members in 1984 and become a commander of the Gambia Armed Forces with a vast experience in military and intelligence. The second person in question, of course, the job also requires technocrats to advise government, issue of policies, issue of administration, and even issues of promotion of men in uniforms in the ranks of lieutenants, colonels, or its equivalent. So there is no doubt that the two persons in question are definitely the right people, and they are also the right persons in the right positions. I am convinced that they're not around a peg in a square hole. And without wasting much of the time of assembly, this should not take much debate. Going by the qualification, going by the experience, wealth of experience, assembly should not the label to approve this confirmation. And if you permit me, I want to move a motion that the intervention is restricted with 3 minutes per member to expedite this process. I thank you so much for indulging.
Probably one would have tabled the motion prior to taking the floor. You spoke for more than 3 minutes, so I don't think it would be fair to. It should have been done earlier. Thank you. Yes, Honorable Member for Jara East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me the floor. I rise to drum of support for the motion earlier presented by the mover with regards to the appointment of these two refined gentlemen. Madam Speaker, going through their CVs, one is definitely impressed by virtue of its colorfulness. The CVs of this, Madam Speaker, the duo, are quite impressive and colorful. And Madam Speaker, I have no qualms with regards to their appointment to their various noble offices. Madam Speaker, what they have done for this country speaks for itself. As the old adage, has it, that action speaks louder than words. Madam Speaker, Merces Ndao and Diba are household names in the Gambia. Madam Speaker, Mr. Ndao has served this country with distinction. During my formative years as a child, when I was in my teen, I used to hear this gentleman's name. When he was the commander of the Gambian National Army, he served with distinction. And as a result, his name becomes a household name throughout the Gambia. I could remember very well when the Gambia Armed Forces was in its formative stages. This man was there trying to build up the fledgling army, and he did extremely well in building the army to where it is, Madam Speaker. I think it is no doubt that people who have served faithfully, diligently, their country with distinction are considered for such prestigious positions. Madam Speaker, when you come to Mr. Yusuf Diba, he was a consummate civil servant, a patriot in his own right, and he also served diligently. And both men are deeply rooted in the Gambia. They have served faithfully. And I want to thank them for having been considered to serve the Gambian people. Madam Speaker, I just want to highlight some what I consider as anomalies. Madam Speaker, when people are asked to go to Parliament for confirmation hearing or what you call it, it is done for a reason. Madam Speaker, if you go to our standing orders, 114, it says for scrutiny. And it goes without saying, there has to be an article of evidence. I have no qualms with their standing. They are gentlemen par excellence. But Madam Speaker, if we are going to consider nominees or appointees, I think if we have seen their CV, it is not enough to say, I have attended St. Augustine High School, University of Cambridge, University of London. This has to be accompanied with evidence, certificates. I could remember vividly when we are considering the first nominee for the portfolio of Ombudsman in the person of Babukar A. Sware. He presented to this August Assembly a comprehensive CV with hard copies of certificates, the schools he attended, the courses, because it will help in attesting to the certificates he claimed to have earned. These two refined gentlemen, they have done extremely well, but I have not seen, yes, they attended prestigious institutions, but I have not seen the hard copy certificates. And Parliament is about scrutiny, and we are human beings. That's why we are considered as not infallible. If you want to make an inquiry as to whether what is before us in terms of their impressive resume, the schools they claim to have attended, where do we stand? But if you have certificates, hard copies, that will serve as an article of evidence. And I believe fervently in this August Assembly, evidence must always precede decision. That's my detached opinion. That's what we are called a parliament. Evidence must always precede decision. evidence must always precede decision. That's very key. Because that's the time we can bank on to say, yes, Mr. X or Mr. Y is well grounded in this domain. Because there is evidence to produce. But not to say he attended University of London, University of Cambridge. Yes, they may be prestigious universities. I have no doubt. But the critic in me is not comfortable. And I would like the mover to tell me, I know it could be an oversight, but they should have been accompanied with hard copy certificates. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Honorable Member for Serekunda. Serekunda, please.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we are not dealing with an ordinary institution. This is, in fact, the key institution for defending the sovereignty of this land. And that is precisely the reason why the Constitution has given it the focus it deserves. We are informed of the need to equip this force under Section 186, subsection 3, in order to maintain its capacity to perform the role of defense of the Gambia. Honorable Speaker, this institution, the Gambia Armed Forces, under Section 187, is given two fundamental functions. It is clear that it has a principal role to preserve and defend the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Gambia. To aid the civil authorities at their request in emergencies. We're talking about border controls. It is clearly stipulated in the Constitution that in terms of national disaster or emergencies, they could be mobilized to serve the national interest. To engage at the request of civil authorities in productive activities such as agriculture, engineering, health, and education for the development of the Gambia, which means that they can build up an engineer corps to be building educational institutions, bridges, causeways, anything imaginable. And Honorable Speaker, armies now in the world are transformed into productive institutions that conduct research, build technology, and in many instances serve as the core facilitation of industrialization in many countries in the world today. And here the Constitution is providing for that capacity to grow to that level. Honorable Speaker, subsection 2 move into what I will call, ignore the language, civilianization of the armed forces, so that it will not just be seen as a tool, as a killing machine, but it will be seen as human beings serving a particular purpose. And then under subsection 2, they are supposed to assist in building a national youth service and provide them in training, that the same armed forces shall establish training programs for their members at all levels to equip them with skills and trades, to ensure that the programs that they develop, there can even be secondment in order to prepare them for civilian life. That they should not just be kept there and used just like they are there to carry weapons.